to another
Welcome.
episode of Small Talk Big Biz with your host, Tiff and Tequila. Uh, and today we'll be talking about buying behavior and what makes people buy. And this is such a interesting and tricky topic. So I'm excited to dive in. But yeah, let's just jump into it. Let's get started.
Yeah. So, a part of why I wanted to discuss this, because I remember bringing it to you,
Yep.
was because Kev on stage and was it Angel? Yes, Angel. They have their own podcast, of course, and they were talking about the how the decline in sales of Ivy Park was going, and just exploring the reasons as to why those sales were declining
Mm-hmm.
after doing so well when it first debuted. And I was just listening to some of their reasons as to why I did well when it debuted, and it was because Beyonce keeps this mysterious persona. She doesn't really talk about much, and so it was like a social thing to kind of like be connected to that move and to be connected to her in a way. And they
Yeah.
were just talking about like why does her show sell out? Like, how is she able to just drop singles and this visual artwork without even promoting it? And then how she's able to sell out these shows, and how she's able to do the buy-in process, how she's doing it now, like with the verification, and you have to register your card and all that type of stuff. And they deemed it to link it to her mysterious persona. Like, that works so well when you are when you're gonna come and do a live event. You're so mysterious that people want to see you. You're so mysterious, people want to hear you. People want to know what you got to say. Like, so it kind of commands the silence, kind of commands that attention. When you actually do speak, everybody gets quiet. Like, oh, what you got to say? Because I really never have heard you say anything.
Right.
And that didn't, after a while, didn't translate over to the clothing, because when after that first drop or their second drop, it wasn't, people were talking about how the wearability was, how you wouldn't have anywhere to wear those things to, confusion about what is it supposed to be. Is it supposed to be workout clothes? Is it leisure? Is it dressy? And
Right.
we know Avid Park is kind of like all of them. Like, you got a sports bra with some trousers, and somebody wearing it with heels. They were saying how confusing, what Angel was saying, how confusing it was, and how she wouldn't even wear any of the things anywhere, because she doesn't go anywhere to be buying those type of items for how much they are. And so now I think she still buys the things, but just pieces, certain pieces that she knows can fit in her wardrobe with her everyday life or what she does normally. So that just had me thinking, like, yeah, let's talk about this. Let's explore the reasons as to why your audience buys, and not only to why they buy, but what will keep them retained, like how you keep that retention of them coming back. Because it's great to debut, and most debuts, when you make a big deal out of something, you're going to have a lot of those initial sales, but are those people going to come back? Are
Right.
those people going to tell other people about it? And are those sales going to continue on? And that retention is everything
Yep.
in a
Yep.
business. Like, I know in Memphis, we are excited about everything new. Like, you will have a line
Yeah.
wrapped around the corner for a new restaurant, a new whatever, for weeks and months. But after that initial die out, that initial excitement dies out, how do you keep those people coming back in? How do you keep your lines wrapped around the building? I think a person who does amazing at this is the Flooded Vegan team in Atlanta.
Mm.
She's expanded out. She's expanded Pinky Code. She's expanded to I think she had a deal with Skechers. She's had a deal with other people, like places you wouldn't even imagine a vegan restaurant person would be
Mm-hmm.
in. And how she translated her business, on top of having her own personal brand as well. Like, how did she translate that and keeping the people excited? Like, all those things, it just matters. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs, when we first start out, we always worry about what to buy. Like, this is what I sell. This is what I sell. Push, push, push. And how to buy the things that I sell. But why should your people buy that?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why?
Right.
Oh, Kristen. I thought it was a good example myself. That just came.
It's actually an excellent example, and I think where I've seen at least the gap from a business perspective, and this is my kind of looking at corporate and then turn around and looking at entrepreneurs and turn around and looking at corporate, like kind of back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I've seen that is I guess a plus if you're in corporate, but it's something to think about as an entrepreneur, is corporations are not, like, there's not one single person doing everything in a corporation. When you're an entrepreneur, you are the business person. You are the face, you are the brand, you are the operations, you are the financial guru, you are the marketing, you are the product development, you are all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And corporations kind of break it up, and there's one person doing marketing, or I don't say one department doing marketing, a department doing finance, a department doing product development, all these things. And so as an entrepreneur, you kind of miss the mark sometimes in the actual delicate and timely research of really getting to know your buyer's persona and who
Absolutely.
they are and what they do and where and why they buy and what influences that decision. And it's not a knock on entrepreneurs. It's really because you really just don't have the time, right? You don't have the time to really dig into it the way you should. But I would encourage every entrepreneur to really take a moment to do that research. Do some really, really good research.
You have to be intentional about taking that time off, because
Yes.
a lot of us are building businesses where we're going to have to be working in physically. So we're really building ourselves a job too.
Yep.
And not necessarily thinking about the succession of that and how we can walk away from it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take some time off from the working, like put up what you need to put up, get those financials together, whatever percentage you need to put to the side to make sure you can comfortably take a couple, I won't even say a couple of days, you need to take a week,
yes.
A week or two to really sit down, relax, and also do some research. Like, you want enough time where you can clear your mind, relax, get at peace, and then enough time where you can do some research and study and write down a strategic plan without feeling bogged down or extra tired.
Yep.
And feel like you need to go back on vacation. You want to come back refreshed and rejuvenated and ready to go.
Yep.
So.
And learning that marketing piece is like really big, because marketing it's not like learning finances or learning operations that's very tangible and very straightforward. Marketing is about people, and people are unpredictable.
Yeah.
People's behaviors are unpredictable. You just don't know what you don't know if you don't go out there and pay attention to the trends and really learn people behavior. It literally, marketing is psychology. It literally is psychology, and you have to understand the science behind how people think and make their choices.
Yeah.
And I read
one thing that's helped me personally, because I did minor in psychology, and I have always been interested in psychology, and I still read on psychology to this day, because it does help in the industry that I'm in, because you talk to so many people.
Yep.
But I mean, people are people, and they're gonna people. At the end of the day, people all the time. But there are certain stimuli that trigger certain behavior no matter what. Yeah, people are very you can't just put a thumb on it, like, yeah, you're gonna do this way. It's always an exception to the rule. But there are certain stimuli that trigger certain behavior or trigger certain compulsions in human beings, no matter what, unless that person really has done some soul searching and got some type of discipline over their compulsions.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's like the other part of it is understanding kind of where your product falls in the buying behavior categories. Because I think what I read was there's kind of like 4 main buying behaviors for people, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's your everyday purchase, right? That's like groceries, that's, gas, that's commodity stuff that you really decide that you can't live without. And for some people, stuff like getting their hair done is a routine purchase. For others, maybe not, but it just depends on the type of person or the type of client that's doing the buying. Like, what is it routine, or is it going to be an occasional purchase that you get every once in a while, or you're looking for something for an event? You need a dress or a suit to go do something. That's an occasional buy. Do you fit into that? Or are you like a large purchase that takes a lot of time to think about? People don't rush into buying a car. They really take their time to research the vehicle, make sure it checks all the boxes, because it's a big investment. You want to make sure you're getting everything you want. So people are a little slower on those types of purchases, but it's normally a larger dollar value. And then the last bucket is that, like you said, that compulsive buy that I saw it on the internet. Everybody's talking about it. I'm gonna go grab it. It's that type of thing.
I gotta be a part of it. I gotta be a part of it.
Right. I gotta follow the trend. I gotta follow the trend. Either that or it's a conscious plan, right? Like, I've seen this brand 17 times. I've told myself to buy it 17 times, so I'm gonna go buy it. And the example for me, I don't care what's going on. I don't care what's happening. I am on top of every single last pair of Jordans that come out. Yeah. I know what's coming out.
I'm gonna have to enroll you with it. You need to go into some type of rehab for it, because it's an addiction at this point. I'm like, it's getting bad. It's gotten bad.
Y'all, it's bad for real. But like, listen, it is a conscious planning purchase for me. I literally plan to buy Jordans as I know the release dates come up, and that's me. That is, they know who the sneakerheads are. They know who they're marketing, and you best believe we looking for the drop calendar 3, 4, 5 weeks in advance of what's coming, and we planning.
In my life, I have one pair of Jordans that I wear once a year. Like, literally, I have to make I'm going to wear these Jordans today. Like, I wear them. They look brand new. I need to sell them. It's ridiculous. They look brand spanking new. I've worn them 3 times within 3 years or 4 years.
No, we're bad. Like I was saying, I just started. So I've always been a Jordan fan, but I was never a collector or like really a sneakerhead until recently. And I started collecting last year. And over the course of the year, I have gotten up to around 50 pair in a year, y'all. In a year. So
my 36, I got one pair. But I don't wear tennis shoes, so I'm not their client. There wouldn't be something I would plan my day around. But the clients that I do have, and my regular clients, they do feel like they're in their head, like, this is a routine buy. This is part of my budget. This is part of why I go to work. Like, this is what I want to spend my money on, and it's part of my bills. Like, that is part of their reasoning or rationale behind, buying beauty services.
So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. And I think where you kind of start is back to what Sakila was saying. You got to know who you're selling to and what influences their purchasing. And social is like so big right now. You put stuff on social media, and if it blows up, it pops off, like, it'll go and it'll take off. Like, this is the best exposure for products or services that we've ever seen in life. I mean, y'all remember how it used to be? Marketing was
Ooh,
an agency you hired.
just,
Like,
mm-hmm.
y'all remember? Did anybody watch Mad Men? I watched Mad
I
Men.
watched. And
And
it was
it's like it
definitely
was
a
that.
gatekeeping process. It's definitely a gatekeeping process.
Yes.
You felt like you didn't have access to it, and that's part of the reasons. Like one of my things too. Like we really have to focus on the why to buy. Yes, I
Yes.
have this service. Yes, I have. Yes, this is how you do it. But why should you buy it? And most of the time, what you're selling has nothing to do with the actual product or the service that you provide. It has
Absolutely.
everything to do with how that client is going to feel or how the customer is going to feel. What's the experience? What are you really giving them? I am giving them an experience. I am giving them maintenance. I am selling you access to something
Yeah.
that you wouldn't have access to. I'm selling you instant gratification. I'm selling you, like, that's what you're selling. You're not selling, I see Chris is on here, she's an artist. You're not selling artwork. You know what I mean? You're selling a piece, a memorabilia. You're selling something that evokes emotion.
Yep.
You're selling something that lifts your spirit when you walk into your home or into your entryway. Like you're selling stories. You're selling memories. You're selling so much more than canvas and paint.
Yep.
I remember my dad selling Amway and went
Door
door
to
to
door.
door. Oh my God. We glad we ain't got to do that no more.
Ooh,
But
no.
I mean, I am, but some of us getting on the social media platform, we're getting on Google, we're making these websites. I prefer
Family
to my father's
heirlooms. Yeah, I like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're not selling just canvas paint. It's always something more. And you do a really, really good job at I'm not sure if you follow her, Tiffany, or even heard about her, but she does a really, really good job of storytelling and really explaining each piece of art and the colors and where they come from, what they mean, like really build that connection. So you do really, really well at that. And that is what you sell, and that is what make people connect to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And they like, you know what, when I do want artwork, because that is one of those things that people think about before purchasing. It's not necessary. It's like one of those things, like the houses, the homes, rugs. I know I think about a rug forever. Why is the rug so high, Lord?
Right.
Think about it. But those type of things, constantly making that human, putting your humanity on it,
Yeah.
and building that personal brand alongside of your actual business brand, that builds that connection to where you're always going to be first in someone's mind when I am thinking about purchasing artwork or when I am thinking about purchasing a home. That's why you have some realtors that just do so phenomenally well. They're constantly educating. They're constantly showing up in a consistent manner, and consistency is what the schedule you're comfortable with, and your audience can depend on you showing up. So that's why you see some of them doing so phenomenally well, because they put their humanity on there. They make you imagine living in their house. They make you like want to be in their house. Like, oh, look at this. Like they really, it's a sales tactic, but it's not salesy. And we have
Yeah.
to learn how to, because so many people cringe, because I don't want to be salesy. You have to. You have to learn how to sell without feeling cringe about
Right.
it. And so putting on your humanity on something, or really just showing the benefits, or we have to figure it out. Like you have to be okay showing up, selling yourself. There's just
Right.
entrepreneurship and corporations. Corporations sell themselves all day, every
Oh,
day.
all
You
day.
wouldn't all
Yeah.
day, every day. I
All
mean, that's
day.
the name of the game. The name of the game. And they might attach a mission or a cause or something else to it, but we're talking money at the end of the day. What's the bottom
Yeah.
line?
The brilliance behind corporations, though, is that they have the I don't want to say brilliance. I guess it's just access to resource. But they have this ability to really make you be able to picture yourself using their products or, benefiting from their services. This is why, like, you go into a commercial and you watch like you know, I don't know, cruise line commercial or something. You see these folks on the boat and they having a good time and they're drinking and they're partying and they're having, and you're like, I can see myself on a boat.
Girl, that's why you think commercials where people doing heavy lifting, skipping through the
Right.
flowers. You think you got these medication commercials where people so happy. Meanwhile, your side effects is that you might gouge out your eye or
Exactly.
die. Right, but we like, oh, that medicine ain't so bad. Look at them. Like, they really want to invoke these emotions out of you. Like, look how great your life can be if you just use this. And I'm like, I've never understood that, like, with tampon commercials. I remember when I was younger, like, why y'all acting like it's a great time to be alive when you're on? Like, because it ain't. Like, it's just not. I don't have
I'll tell
energy.
you, it's funny you said that because I had the same kind of thought about this commercial. So I don't know if y'all have ever seen this commercial. Y'all probably have, but I think it's a pregnancy test commercial, and it's the digital one. And there's three women on there. They want all different outcomes, right? Two of them don't want to be pregnant, and the other one definitely wants to be pregnant, right? And so, and I cracked up laughing because all of them got the results that they wanted. The two that didn't want to be pregnant were not pregnant, and the one that did want to be pregnant was pregnant. And I was like,
that ain't true.
What it all?
Like, you come, look, give me, because they can't show a real pregnancy commercial where somebody didn't get the outcome that they wanted. Yeah. Well, you can if you know how to pitch it. It could be a funny, relatable topic, like, oh my God, I'm not ready, but but
yeah.
What's the odds though? 3 out of 3.
All three of them, yeah. All three of them came out the way that I was like, really? Nobody got shocked. Nobody
got shocked. No, not on this planet. Not on God's green earth. It sure, it don't work.
But that just lets you know the power of marketing, because you get all hopeful. You like, man, if I get the accurate test,
yeah, if I
know for sure.
Yeah. Okay, with the when the dollar store pregnancy test works just fine, and that's probably what the doctor's office is going to use anyway. It's the
right. But you need this Clear Blue Easy.
But you need this one.
Digital one. It's going to give you the most accurate result, so that if you really don't want to have this baby, it's going to tell you you're not going to have this baby.
Another example of marketing and why people don't buy these things. And we was talking, I can't remember who I was talking to about, probably just in the salon. We just be talking about everything. Minivans. I wouldn't get a minivan to save my life, probably.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Never.
And it's not because they're not great vehicles. They're amazing vehicles. They have great rides. They're one of the safest vehicles out there. They're comfortable, roomy, the best thing to travel in. Gas mileage is amazing. Yep. All these things about a minivan that's absolutely great. And I would go out there and buy an SUV in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. I would spend my last to not look like a soccer mom in the middle of suburbia with this unfly ride. I just would, because guess what? Marketing, who you attached yourself to, that persona, that image, it matters. So now you see a lot of these companies revamping their minivan looks, trying to make them look more like hybrids, like SUV kind of, because it's not cool to be in a minivan.
Oh no.
All these benefits, and I'm telling you right now, I don't care. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to spend more on an unsafe SUV because it's cuter. Because that's what it is. Honestly, it's the marketing is, if someone had the foresight to not showcase minivans in all these movies with the suburban mom who's too tied down and bogged down and tired, escorting the kids back and forth, they tied it to a life most people don't want to emulate. That's
Right.
just the truth. I don't want to be tired. I don't want to be tired, bogged down, stressed out, barely your kids in the back screaming, hollering, cussing you out, throwing, cheeses and fishes everywhere. I that doesn't equate to the life I want to live.
Yeah.
So why would I buy these things that's associated with that?
And that's a good segue into the other part of like what influences your behavior. So you talked about, I'll never drive a minivan.
Okay.
Look, I have 3 kids. I raised they're older now. They're, grown ups and teenagers. But when they were babies, I still wouldn't put them in a minivan. Okay? I'm not riding. And I will pack my babies in a 2-door car before I drive a minivan. And the reason being is because there is some kind of cultural something in our community that tells us minivans are not cool. It doesn't matter how much value they bring to our lives.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in the back of our mind, we are like, this minivan ain't cool. I ain't riding it.
I'm a cool person. Even if I'm not even a cool person in real life, I like to imagine I'm a cool person in here. And if I get in this real life minivan as a cool person inside of here, I can't.
I just gave up all my cool points.
Yeah,
I just gave up all my cool points getting in the minivan, and you just can't.
Get that back. How can I get that back? And that's what I'm saying. It's highly irresponsible, but it's the truth. Yeah. And I don't know, when I talk to people, they say the same thing. I mean, because when we were talking about it in the salon, everybody was like, "Yeah, nah, can't do it. Cannot do it."
Exactly.
All the benefits that come with it, we still like, absolutely not. Absolutely.
And that's a big thing, guys, because there you have it. We just gave you a really good example of how culture and social, status impact your buying decisions. Like it's not because it's a bad vehicle. It's not because we don't know the facts about it. It has nothing to do with anything other than culturally for us. We feel like that shit ain't cool and we ain't doing it. Point blank, period.
You won't catch me in it. Like, I mean,
so if I got to spend an extra $15,000 on an SUV versus a minivan, hey, it is what it is. That's what I'm doing.
Not even that. The extra $15,000 and the gas mileage.
And the gas mileage.
I got to spend more in maintenance to keep maintaining my SUV, because minivans don't just break down like that. They have great longevity, and they hold their value when you ride them off the lot. I don't care. When I tell you I don't care, until they do better, until you buy me, I'm not doing it. Do better. Crazy. It's something. It's a vanity reason, but that goes so far. Your image and what we perceive our image as to being in our head, we don't even have to be these people in real life.
Right.
But we perceive ourselves as being cooler than a minivan. I'm better than that. Yep. Is that our fault? Nope.
No.
It's
all cultural.
It has been presented to us. It's about who they've been associated with. And then on top of that, vans have been associated with what? Kidnapping. Would you ride a white van anywhere? Would you drive that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. A white van? You up to no good. Every time I think about what a van is tied to, it's nothing good. Scooby-Doo. I don't want to be Scooby-Doo in the game. I'm not no goofy kid. Like, all these things. It's tied to uncool things. So
I just keep seeing the movie clip of the van pulled up and they snatch somebody, and then the sliding door closes and they peel off. Like, no, I don't want it.
You know how much a white van is because of that? It's like $2. You could probably go get a white van right now.
Right.
Extra cheap, because people know what connotation comes with that. I could probably afford me a little white van right now. Cash money. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Had an FBI on your trail.
You got
What she buy
everybody
this
thinking like
van
they
for?
want to go with me. Like, oh, this is strange. Why she go? She went from a black car to a dang on white van. I ain't got time to be side eyed.
No, not at all. But those
So,
are the influence of behavior. So we got culture, we got social, we got psychological and personal.
hmm
And y'all, the personal stuff, I don't think we do enough research into this. Like for real, for real. We don't do enough research into this. Like we make assumptions about people. We,
hmm
you know, we don't do enough research. You really need to know the personal aspects of your clientele. Like if you have a brick and mortar spot, it's in your best interest to know what the average median income of that area is. It's
Yep.
in your best interest to know the demographics of that area. It's in your best interest to know where your competitors are in proximity to you.
hmm
Like, what's the average age of your clientele? Where do they
hmm
normally shop? What's their occupation? Like, this is easy and free, by the way, information that you can get your
hmm
hands on and
hmm
really start making better decisions about who you're marketing to. Because if
Yeah.
you're offering a premium service, no shade to anyone, but a person who makes $10 an hour might not be your ideal client. And that's okay because there is someone out there for them. You just have to be
hmm
honest in your product offering to know what type of person you want in
hmm
your space, buying your products or getting services. And
Absolutely.
we don't do enough research in that area for
Now,
sure.
I don't know how y'all feel about this, but I've been seeing it, and it's an uptick of it. And this is just I'm speaking of the beauty industry and stylists in particular. But I've seen a lot of stylists before they take a new client, they will ask you for your social media handles to do research on you
Interesting.
before they take you in because they want to work with certain type of people.
Hmm.
They don't care nothing about, oh, I got the money, so you do my. Nope. They don't care that you got the money. They don't want you in there if you are representing a certain type of lifestyle, if you do certain type of illicit drugs or pastimes, or you have certain vices. If you carry yourself in a particular manner, they just don't want you in their establishment. They don't want you on their client list because of the image they want to maintain and put out. And if you don't fit that, they don't do your hair. I've
That's
been saying
that's interesting,
very interesting.
but I ain't gonna say it's wrong.
I
I say
know.
it's different, but I ain't gonna say it's wrong. And the reason being is I'm a very big proponent of a business has the right to choose what type of customer they sell to.
hmm
You don't have to accept everyone. Just like every consumer is not going to choose you, you don't have to choose every consumer.
Except don't. But you're not. We're not talking about
Right,
discrimination against protected class.
right. No,
We're
we're
not
not
talking
talking
about that.
about that.
You don't have the right to refuse somebody because they're black, gay, Muslim, what else is
Older,
older
yeah.
or younger. Like you, all those protected classes. We're not talking about that.
Nope.
We're legitimately talking about whether you are whatever you are. You don't fit the persona or the image I would like to be associated with my business. And we see that with who has those contracts? Ferrari. They
Oh,
have banned people, celebrities from buying their stuff because they have a list of things or rules or restrictions that you can and cannot do with their car. Like you
yeah,
can't put their car in any marketing or anything like that, like all over it. You can't, it's just certain things you can't do with it, or you can't modify them in certain ways because the image of Ferrari.
yeah. The same
They,
thing with what the Amex Black card.
yeah.
Everybody can't get an Amex Black card. The Centurion card. They have a
Mm-hmm.
very strict criteria,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to be invited to
Yeah.
get
You have
that
to,
card.
yeah.
You have to be invited to get the black card, or you fill out some kind of questionnaire requesting that they
Mm-hmm.
review you as a
Mm-hmm.
regular, as a candidate. But if you
Mm-hmm.
don't meet the check marks, they're not going to give you that card. And I can't blame them, because I think I read that card had a $5,000 a year annual membership, $5,000
Mm-hmm.
a year for that card, just to have the
Just to
card,
have the
$5,000 a
card,
year.
just to use the card, just to have the card.
Just to
And
say
when
you
I
got a black card.
and I know like the community is in up, like they're up in arms, uproar about it. You don't have the right to look at my stuff and decide. I'm telling you right now, I'm with you on that. How would I do it? No, no, right now, no, I wouldn't do it. I
Yeah.
would not do it. However, I would, if I had an uptick of people that I believed disturbed the atmosphere of my salon. Like we have a certain atmosphere. If I felt like I had like if there was a certain like drugs or like just something that kind of disturbed that peace, that atmosphere, or that energy, I would try to probably look into that. Like, what can I do to weed these people
Yeah.
out? Or not feel or like maybe present myself in a different manner to where I'm not like, what am I doing to attract these people? I'm always going to be like reflective. Like, let me look back, let me look at what I'm doing, what is going out here where people feel comfortable with cussing out other people in the salon, or being extra loud, or like being belligerent, or coming in extra high, or smelling like just smoked out the whole place, or like what about what I'm doing is inviting you to do these things that
Right.
may not fit the image of what I'm trying to put out or whatever. So
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting, and as more and more I thought about it, first I was like, what? But then you think about it, most premium things do research first on their clients, like we just said, like Ferrari, like Black MX. It's some country clubs. What else do they? Certain neighborhoods you can't live in without checking the marks, checking the boxes.
I mean,
They're
even small things like restaurants having a dress code. That's a way
yeah.
for them to kind of tailor the type of, people that come into the restaurant. If we went to a cigar lounge not so long ago, and it's business casual only.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of tailors who comes in, like
Mm-hmm.
no jeans, no tennis shoes, no baseball caps. Well, either you
Yeah.
dress up and go, or you go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's another way that they do it. So yeah.
Honestly, protecting the atmosphere,
Yeah.
protecting your culture, protecting the energy, protecting the other people that's in there. People affect all those things. So tailoring your clientele is definitely a part of it, and it can be a little like it could be a little iffy situation, but tailoring
Yeah.
people, that's part of it. And I just thought that was interesting because I know we get on here and we talk about things from, we're talking about like a consumer point of view right now,
Right.
and we forget, especially in entrepreneurship, that we don't have to take everybody.
Right.
We don't have to accept everybody. We don't have to take everybody. When companies don't take everybody. There's been
Nope.
so many companies that said, when I made XYZ, I had this person in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And they get backlash, but they don't step back from what they said, because they're being honest. They never had whatever group category in mind when they did this. They had this buyer persona.
Yeah.
And whatever that they did, it got associated with something else outside of what they were trying to do. It just didn't push or register with their buyer persona that they originally wanted.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, you have to go back and look, what am I doing? How am I presenting myself? If your buyer persona isn't matching. But that's the thing now, y'all. These people are doing research on y'all. They're researching the consumer. They are researching the consumer now.
Yeah. And the other crazy thing that I've seen from a corporation standpoint, I've noticed this, and I don't want to make it sound too bad, but I have paid attention, have you started to notice how it's a lot more of us popping up in a lot more commercials?
Mm-hmm,
And
of course.
like you look at, but it's not like, for example, McDonald's.
Oh, girl,
I
they've been pushing the
they
R&B
are
commercials.
pushing so hard, and I have not seen. It's literally almost switched over. It's
Oh shit,
almost
we've been like that since the '90s. So you remember they were coming out with them R&B commercials, real tough, really peddling towards the black community. Um, I'm gonna send you some old commercials
please
later.
because I've seen it like where they kind of had it back and forth for a second, and now I don't see anything but
I
people cover
felt
on McDonald's commercials, and it's like,
I've been feeling like that ever since, especially the early 2000s. For real, they got really heavy into like switching up the ba da ba 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 that little jig,
right, yeah,
and
the
it
jingle
really
was
put that
all
R&B thing on there. I'm gonna send you some old commercials. McDonald's been on it. They've been on it. They've been on it.
but it's just interesting, like kind of the social stuff.
Hmm.
It's kind of it definitely, I feel like it's definitely tied to, the demographics again, right? Where are McDonald's locations
Hmm.
for the most part? What's the median income in those areas? And if you look at that versus like where's Chick-fil-A?
Girl,
I'm just I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just, you know, think it makes me think of Coach. Yes, Coach did the same thing.
Coach definitely doing it. And I
Coach
love
has
me some
definitely
Coach.
done the
Coach
same
is
thing.
definitely on board with the putting the black faces on the stuff. Like
Yes.
they are pushing for black people. But honestly, I think maybe, and this is the opposite of what I was talking about. Some people may look at their buyer persona and they're like, oh, these aren't the people I originally wanted, so let me change some stuff up. A lot of these corporations are looking, well, this is maybe what I wanted, but these are the people who are buying it. So let me switch
Yes.
some stuff up. So that
Yep.
self-reflection goes both ways. So maybe that's what's going on because for the longest I know, we bought Coach. I
Yes.
really didn't see a lot of our Caucasian counterparts with Coach.
Oh no, no.
Even when I worked around them or anything like that, I just never seen it. But I have seen black women of all economic, all statuses, all financial backgrounds have some Coach.
Yep.
See?
Coach Michael Kors.
Coach Michael Horse,
And
yeah, and
you see what is it? Vera
yeah,
Bradley, is that right?
and Riley,
You see
Vera,
that on the, I've seen that marketing go towards the other side, but we don't really carry that.
yeah,
I had a Vera Bradley purse once and I gave it away because it was it was floral print. I don't like floral.
yeah, yeah, no. But oh my God, what was I gonna say? I just lost my train of thought. But it's another. Oh, I'll think about it. It'll probably pop back in my head. So if I just cut you off, just know
Got
it
you.
just popped back in my head. I gotta say it. But it was another social thing though, and it was kind of on that where people are switching up and like they're switching up how they're marketing or who they're marketing to. So
Yep.
I just couldn't think of what I was about to say. But moving
Yeah.
on.
And then that that psychological part of it, y'all, though, that's like a huge part of the reason why we buy stuff, because everything we buy, we feel like, I don't want to speak for everybody else, but for me, I feel like everything I buy is a reflection of me, of my personality, of who I am as an individual. So
Mm-hmm.
even down to, man, what nail color do I pick? Like, it's little things like that that I think about. What shade of lipstick do I wear? What type of, how do I wear my locks hair? Is
Mm-hmm.
that, like, all of those things go into my what, how I see myself. So if I can't, you know, envision myself wearing the brand or doing a certain thing, it's not for me. But a lot of
Yeah.
that psychological stuff goes into it. Those, adventurous people who like to travel, and they're gonna get a different vibe from, certain type of marketing things versus those less traveled people who like to stay in one space and only do. It's so much that goes into it, but it really boils down to like, what's your motivation and how do you perceive yourself? Like, why are you buying what you buy, and how does it make you feel as a person when you buy those things? And then how does it?
And us as companies, I mean, I know we keep saying entrepreneurs, but as entrepreneurs, we really need to look at ourselves as a company.
Yes.
We really need to model some of those things or research those big business. Like I like to say, small business with big business tendencies. Like, that's why we name this Small Talk Big Business. Because as much as we want it to be so light, and we might laugh and we discuss the nuances of it, it's so big. Yeah. At the end of the day, business is big, small or small or otherwise. It's a lot that goes into it. It's so much that goes into it.
Yeah.
I cut you off, but
no,
I'm sorry.
I'm good. No, you're good. So circling back to something that you were talking about selling an experience and selling a feeling, I've come to the realization that I think, but in my personal opinion, this is not fact or anything. I have not vetted this, so this is just my thought. I think that there's two different types of entrepreneurs or business owners. There's ones that are very visionary and creative, and they know how to connect very well with people and tell their story, and they're really good at it. But where they kind of have some flaws is the operational stuff in the background. Like, they're not good at how to set up their infrastructure, how to really take care of the things in the background. And then you have those operational entrepreneurs who are very good at the aspects of business, but they are not good at creativity, telling the story, selling themselves, things like that. And so one thing that I wanted to say was, when you talk about, pushing and being a seller and all of that, if you don't have the skills to be creative, or you feel like you're not a creative person, one, you can always hire somebody. That's always an option. But two, I think the other thing is leveraging the strength that you have. If you're a very technical and operational entrepreneur, then sell how you can help somebody versus selling an experience, or you're going to feel this way, because everybody's not fluffy, and I get that. I'm not a very fluffy person. But what you can do is position it to a way to say, this is how I'm adding value to your life. This is how I'm going to help you solve a problem. This is how I'm going to make something better for you. And I think coming from that space of service helps those entrepreneurs who are more technical tap into their creativity, because it's there. It just might not be your prominent skill. But I think once you lead with helping, lead with solving, lead with, what it is that I'm doing to make your life, the world, whatever, a better place, then you'll get that connection that it is that you're looking for. And it's hard.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that circles back around to where we started at the very beginning. Why their retention for Ivy Park declined. I was saying she, but it's not her. Adidas was selling this particular experience, this particular connection with Beyonce, something that she created, something, you know what I'm saying? That connection. But it didn't necessarily make your life easier in a way. It didn't necessarily add a value there unless you, culturally perceptive, maybe. Like, you got these pieces. But if the wearability wasn't, it wasn't a good wearability as far as people were saying, like, just the confusion of like, oh, how do I wear this? Where would I wear this to?
Right.
What is it? Do I put heels or do I put, shoes? Like, just that particular confusion, it didn't necessarily make anyone's life easier or better in any particular way. So now that they'll still buy, but they're not going to buy the whole collection now, like they were at first. Like, people were doing hauls and buying everything, and it was the thing to do. So now I might just buy this piece because it makes more sense now. So the retention went down a lot. So and that just circled right on back around to the very beginning. What do some entrepreneurs or companies do versus others to keep the hype up? And like I said, Pinky Cole and her team does an amazing
Yeah.
job. An amazing job with keeping you engaged, keeping you interested, keeping you wanting the things. As many people who's tried her restaurant and her food, most people love it. And they go and spread the word. I mean, it's delicious. I had it one time and I thought about fully vegan ever since. And you stand in that line. You stand in them. I stood in it. You do. You stand in that line.
Right.
One reason was because it was late night and she was one of the one restaurants that was open. So we stood there because where else were we going to go? Mm-hmm. But when we finally got to the food, delicious. And I was standing in line again because it's delicious. Whatever that was in the sauce was great. The service, amazing. She was there. Like, she was actually there talking, asking people, are you okay? Talking to how y'all feel. She has hype people, y'all, for the line. I've never went to a restaurant where I had to wait and they had hype people to come out, make you dance, make you laugh, talk to you. Like, this is crazy.
Yep. But it's an experience.
But it's an experience. And it's the whole experience. The food isn't just the star of the show. It's just being there. It's a cultural thing. You're in the know. You're like you meet people in the line. We literally talk to people in the line. That's because you're there. You're standing there, you're talking, you get to know people. I mean, it's everything. You got merchandise in there. Like she did so well.
Yeah.
To where it blew up within a year.
Yeah, and I love how she's done this, and Tabitha Brown has done a really good job at dropping the stigmas around being vegan, because there is some kind of something in the Black community where we initially thought it's gonna be nasty, it's not gonna be seasoned. I like my meat, I want my bacon, put my salt and pepper on it. Like, I can't give up my red meat. Like, they have really changed the perception around being vegan and saying, hey, this is our food. We can make it taste however we want to.
Yes.
Like, just don't sell it short because it's not meat, or it's because it's not what we're traditionally used to. Like, we ain't gotta still eat pig feet no more.
Right.
Like,
as a Black person, I'm like, just because I go somewhere doesn't mean I don't like season. I like my stuff to taste good. Like, exactly. And the last time I checked, seasoning is herbs, spices, peppers, onions, garlic. Like, what they got to do with meat? That's where the flavor come from. So why you ain't put that flavor on this? Like, that's what I'll be looking. I don't want some bland concoction. Mm-hmm. So they have both. Like you, Tabitha Brown, she done an amazing job with. And this, they did two separate things. Tabitha took her personal brand and made it a corporation or business brand. She made her personal brand and she extended her personal brand into a company brand. Yeah. Pinky did a company brand, and in extension, she built her personal brand after that. Yeah. But I was introduced to Slutty Vegan before I was introduced to Pinky Cole. I was introduced to Tabitha Brown before I was introduced to Tabitha Brown's sunshine seasoning, or the popcorn, or the clothing and all that. Yeah. And that's another thing that has to do with why it makes sense. Like, companies need both things. You need a personal brand, especially if you're an entrepreneur. You need your personal brand, and you need your company brand. Your company brand is going to be consistent. It's going to always be what it is, what you do, and why you do those things. Your personal brand is going to give you the ability to try new avenues because it makes sense. It doesn't make sense like for like I got a salon. It doesn't make sense for that to hop into like taxes or something like that. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like that just doesn't make sense for that
Yeah.
particular company, that brick and mortar. But as for me, my personal brand, I could explore that. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'm doing it, like I can explore fitness, I can explore health, I can explore the foods, I can explore coaching. You know what we're doing now. I can explore those things, and those can have trickle effects everywhere else. But it might not make sense for your actual company to be dibbling and dabbling in all these different things. That's why you do see celebrities attach themselves to perfumes and
Right.
food and liquors because their personal brand allows them to do that.
Yeah.
Now their production company can't go dabbling into popcorn like that. You know, but personally, I can, and I can introduce that into my company
Right.
in a way. So they went through two different avenues, but came up basically at the same destination, and it's pretty
Yeah.
amazing.
It's some pretty good stuff to watch. So we are coming up on time. I'm gonna circle back and give y'all again the 4 types of behavior and the 4 influences of behavior. So the types of behavior: regular purchases, um, occasional purchases or limited, the large, extensive purchases that take a lot of decision making time, and that's a bigger, probably larger purchase, like your home or your car. And then the impulse stuff. I'm on social media, I see this luggage, and I just remember I need a piece of luggage. Boom, I'm gonna go buy it.
Mm-hmm.
For the 4 influences on behavior, this is very important because I want everybody to take this home because I would like entrepreneurs to take this almost as like homework. As you go forward, like you're developing your marketing strategies, you need to be thinking about these buyer personas and what influences their behavior. First of all, it's their culture. What are their social norms? What are, their norms, their values, their practices, religion, race, all of that falls into it. What's the social stuff? Their family. Uh, y'all, family has a lot to do with buying decisions.
Yeah,
Family
absolutely.
has a lot to do with buying decisions. How husband, wives, kids, your mother-in-law. I don't like how that dress looks. You need to go get something else. All that stuff it
Oh my
influences your
God, I just
buying
read a
decision.
whole thread of how people don't even wear shorts because when they were 10, their mom said their thighs were too big. And now they're purposely going to go wear shorts now. Like, family has a lot to do with what you do and why, or what you don't do, actually.
Yes. Your
So,
personal information, so your age, your income, occupation, all the demographics that we talked about, that plugs into it. What are you able to buy, right? That influences the buying power. When you know your buyer persona's age and income status, you know pretty much their affordability at some
mm-hmm.
level, what they're willing to spend. And then the last one is psychological, like how do they perceive themselves? How do they want others to perceive them? What's their motivation behind buying? I mean, we've seen it happen time and time again. You buy all these big labels because you want to be seen a certain way, in public. So I don't wear nothing but Gucci. Why
Mm-hmm.
though? But it's like, why though? Why do you only wear Gucci?
Yeah,
Like,
you could be,
because you want to be seen a certain way, or you
yeah.
want people to think a certain thing about you, or maybe you just love the brand. I don't know, but all of those things, all of those factors fall into influencing the buyer behavior. So, any tips that you can give anyone about how to better either learn the buyer personas or to be influential in the behavior?
Learn about honestly learning your buyer persona. You really need to be realistic with yourself and with what you're selling, whether that's service or products.
Yep.
You may want a premium client, but you have discount service or discount product. It's not gonna work.
Not gonna work.
It's not gonna
Yep.
work. That's honestly the biggest piece I can possibly give any entrepreneur Like, you have to be real. Like, take a seat. If you can't be objective, get other people to be objective for you. Reviews are a thing, and reviews do help. Take offense to them. Learn from them.
Yeah.
If you own a restaurant and they say the service sucks around there, my food was cold, the ambience sucked, or it wasn't any ambience. Like, these are things you need to look into.
Mm-hmm.
If someone says, I liked everything about the place, but I felt like it was too overpriced for the portions I've got, you might want to look into your portion.
Right.
You might want to look into the portion size, or you may want to put that value in other places. If they're because there are fancy restaurants that give you the little small portions, but everything else is so top tier, you literally forget how much you're spending because you just love the atmosphere, you love the service, you just love everything, and all of those things outweigh everything else.
Yeah. So
it's just about being reflective and being real. You have to be real with yourself. Are you giving A1 service or A1 products for A1 prices?
Yeah.
Like, just being real like that. Or do you want a volume-based operation where the things are cheap, but I can get them out really fast and I have a lot of it? So just being real with what you do and who you are as a company.
Yeah. And it's okay if, like, because everybody's not in the same stage of business. So I would say if you've been established for a while and you have a good clientele, take advantage of the free information. Like, send a survey. It's nothing to send like a really quick survey and get some feedback. You don't have to necessarily wait for the review. Yeah. The reviews are helpful, but you can also like be proactive and just send out a survey and say, hey, tell me what you think of my services. Give me like some honest feedback. That'll really help you tailor to meet the expectations of what it is that they're looking for. Research. And I
also like, where did you hear about me? I always ask people, like, how did you hear about me? What even brought you in? Just asking them one question. I need to know what works so I don't have to put my money into places that don't work anymore. Now I'm going to focus on this avenue because this avenue literally brings me people. It converts people. It brings me money. So why would I be on Facebook if nobody gets me from Facebook? Exactly. Makes no sense.
Yes. And we talked about that a little bit last week in the last episode, but the research, just knowing more about your target audience, where they are, what they do, puts you in the right places to reach them. Mm-hmm. Like, we can't stress this enough. You cannot be in spaces where your audience is not.
Yeah. Like, you can't afford it.
You can't afford to do that. You have to find out where they are, and you have to be consistent in showing up in that space so that they see you all the time. And that takes time and the cultivation of your brand and your story, and really doing, like I said, that research to find out where arts and crafts people might have a whole lot of time on Pinterest and might not ever be on TikTok. You never know. I'm just throwing out a scenario. Mm-hmm. You have to be where they are. If that's your lane, you have to be where they are. You can't be in every space, and then you're gonna thin yourself out, and you're trying to post on 17 different, places, and you got a Pinterest, TikTok, and it's doing nothing. It's giving you nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, that doesn't make sense. So do the research. Take the time to do the research and find out who they are and where do they play, and let me figure out a way to get in front of them and get their attention and keep their attention.
Yeah, because I'm all for you doing the work, but I want you to do good work. I don't want you to do busy work. It's different levels of work. Yep. So yes, all these things are work, but I want you to do good work. The things that make sense, the things that's gonna lead to a progress, a succession, or a conversion of the people. Like, busy work, it looks cute, it's good, it gives you content, but that's all it's gonna do. It may even give you a follower or two.
Yep.
You need money. You need need money. You need resources. You need connects. You need networks. You need access into the rooms and seats at tables. Like, that's what you need. Busy work is nice. Good work is better. Good work is better. So I hope we didn't go too far down the rabbit hole, and hopefully y'all stayed with us the whole time. And I hope you guys learned something. If, as always, if y'all have anything like a specific topic that y'all would like us to discuss and go into a little bit more about it, we would do the research and we will come to y'all and we'll talk about it and we'll go from there. But please interact with us when we put out those surveys or ask those questions, because we need to know, like, what you guys want to see, what you guys want to hear about, what y'all want to learn about. Thank you, Chris. I'm glad you learned. Oh, you stayed with us the whole time. See, that's what I'm talking about. So, well, ain't that time? Well, thank y'all for coming. And again, DM us, email us, just let us know what y'all want to talk about, what you want us to talk about.
Yep. And I think we have our next topic, right?
I think so. I don't know. What was it? I don't have my notebook with me. It's not the notebook.
Oh, I know what it is. This one's going to be juicy. This one was how to say no and how to properly break up with a client. We want to talk about client breakups and saying no. Yeah. So I think that one's going to be juicy, guys. It's going to be interesting.
Oh, yeah. That's what it was. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. That one's going to be good. All right. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Until next time, we are out.
Thank you.